Andromeda Central. 1999 to 10-30:12 p.m. Please inform you races, Alex Collier, that the next 3 rotations shall decide the fate of your United States. Your Union of States is being surrendered. So are the sovereignties you hold as rights. You nation races are choosing a course of action, which they are being deceived into. Dedicate your fortunes, while you still call them yours, to exposing the deceivers and the puppets. Spare no one of the truth. The nation races will rise to protect the freedoms that they have forgotten about. The focus to share and steer into the races' hearts is the right to be true, and unconditionally responsible. In our language, the concept of choice, which your races call free will, is wherein lies the authority to create a world of your own choosing. This is not occurring anywhere on a leadership level on your planet. Please remember, 3 rotations decide the fate of your nation. If your races choose slavery instead of liberty, little can be done to assist you, when regret impacts all of you. Be at 1. 1998 to 12-12. November 23, 1998. Marini stated that the Andromedan Council has granted the Nibiru entry into our solar system to collect and recover mining equipment left behind when the Orion Queen sent them away after their responsibility for the last great flood. This equipment is located on various planets and moons within our solar system. They have been warned not to come near Earth, and direct contact has not been authorized. There is to be no recovery of any equipment on Earth allowed. When they have collected their belongings, they are to leave. The Nibiru will be monitored very closely while operating within our system. Jehovah has left our solar system. Reasons unknown. Marini told Alex that they have discovered that our suns are being deliberately manipulated by mechanical and technical means that is trying to force a change from a normal positive frequency vibration to a negative frequency vibration. It was not shared as to who is the cause of this action or what they are trying to accomplish, but the Andromedans are going to continue to monitor it closely and intervene if necessary. Note, our speculation is that when Hale-Bopp traveled around the suns and dropped off the 2 motherships, moons, in orbit around Mercury, that the Orion Consortium, consisting of 19 different races from the constellation of Orion along with the Draconians and Sirianbes, is directly involved with the manipulation of our suns. Marini explained to Alex, due to the highly political nature of the Andromedan Council, that the Andromedan races, the Palladian races from Takeita and Alcyon, and the liberated races of the Tau Sessions and Procyon, along with some other races that chose to get involved with us from the beginning of this mission, have decided that regardless of the political intentions of the other council races, they are going to stay true to their original mission and intent involving our sector of space, which includes our solar system. It was further stated that if they detected any direct regressive extraterrestrial behind-the-scenes involvement in Terran versus Terran conflicts or actual regressive ET versus Terran altercations, that they will not hesitate to invoke direct open intervention on our behalf. 1998 to 10-08. Our website begins online. 1998 to 9-12. Marini reported that those whom we could refer to as the Nibiru have started to present their case of ownership of Earth to the Andromedan Council. Currently 2 positions have been presented. 1. The Nibiru claim that our current human life form exhibits more of their genetics than any other race that has been here in the past. 2. The Nibiru are claiming that they have the right to mine for uranium in our solar system based on the right of first discovery. They want and intend to commence mining on the planets Mercury and Venus along with the moon Titan. Marini commented that many of the new Andromedan Council races are finding the Nibiru presentation compelling. Due to this, Marini felt concern about a setback for our race. Q&A, Alex, what would you do if you were in charge? Marini, I would order them to reroute their fleet. Inbound Nibiru fleet. Alex, when are they arriving here? Marini, very soon. Very soon. Alex, have you gotten any orders regarding the coming fleet? Marini, no. Alex, if you are ordered to leave, will you? Marini, I would have too. Spoken with true concern. 1998 to 9-11. During a contact on September 11th, Alex asked Marini, well, when's the flyover? Marini smiled, looked at him and said, be patient. Alex said there has been some talk that the craft that is parked in the rings of Saturn, Jehovah Group, left, but according to Marini it's still parked there doing nothing. Also, a race from the Aldebaran system has been in contact with the Israeli government, according to Marini, who said he couldn't say more about that at this point in regard to the topic of discussion between the race from Aldebaran and the Israelis. Marini indicated that the Sun has completed its pole shift, but the magnetic field is still fluctuating wildly and has not repositioned itself. I asked Alex if that had anything to do with the fact of the light spectrum shift recently in the sunlight from yellow to a more white spectrum, and he indicated it did. Alex indicated that if the solar fields did not settle down within about 93 days, the Andromedans indicated that they would intervene and stabilize it themselves. 1998 to 5-13. During a contact on May 10, Marini was accompanied by two other dimensional beings, who were noticeable only in peripheral vision. During this interaction, Marini was careful not to show emotion, a choice seemingly motivated by the presence of these other two beings. Marini would not address the question as to who these other beings were, except to say that they were observers. Marini stated that, the Orion Group has approached the Andromedan Council on behalf of the Nibiru Group, who are claiming rights to certain property in the solar system. When Alex asked how it was resolved, what the issues were, and what property was under dispute, Marini only indicated that the issue has not been resolved. Marini then indicated that the Andromedan Group had uncovered the fact that the Tao's faction of Greys have been given a function to classify genetic patterns in lineage of those connected with the Magi, offspring connected with the Magi genetically, so that they could be tagged and retrieved for removal to another world so they could continue to be a labor force. Alex asked Marini about the trustworthiness of information, channeled or otherwise, coming from the Nibiru faction. Marini replied that Nibiru has never honored your race. Marini stated that the Nibiru were entering the solar system in large numbers, and that another large carrier was in position around Saturn's moons. He added that the destruction of vital proof of our heritage has been a conscious effort to divert and obscure the real tradition of our race's ancestors, and that the deliberate intervention into your race by genetic manipulation has interrupted your race's evolutionary progression. It is our desire to try and help your races move into a direction of greater flexibility and more intelligent, conscious interaction with your intent. Marini continued, saying, remember that in your past and your present, your caste systems are based on the genetic inheritance of those in power at the time. Please ask your races to evaluate this system of slavery, royalty and kingships, because you are all truly royalty. We remind you of this. As a planetary race, what are your priorities? Stop surrounding yourselves in a wilderness of controversy. Marini then indicated that he had to leave. The other two beings turned and faded away. 1998 to 2-17. Political and biowarfare alert. The following data from the Andromedans was provided to us this morning. American governmental policies are being dictated from Brussels, Belgium. 41 major population centers on your world have been targeted for biological terrorist attacks. Primary targets are the United States, England, Europe and Japan. The primary implementing corporate structure for these biological terrorist attacks is the Bank of International Settlements (BIS) in Switzerland. We, the Andromedans, are currently tracking the movements of the 41 people who are involved with this program, also related to the 41 population centers. Note, see here for BIS current activities. 1998 to 1-02. According to Marini, after the events annotated below for September 24, the Andromedan Council met for 90 days in order to decide whether to intervene directly in this timeline. It has been decided to do so. In 1998, the Andromedans are going to do something, says Marini, which will be embodied in a world-scale event so that people can make a decision within their minds about the existence of extraterrestrials. We are not being told precisely what they will do, or precisely when it will go down. However, we are told that the conflict with the Draconians and the Orion Group is not going well at all, a matter which could have prompted the above decision. Note, there are a lot more details in Leading Edge number 106 about what is now transpiring, including the transcript of a 2-hour conversation with letters from Andromeda and a transcript of Alex Collier's lecture in NOV 97. 1998 to 12-31. Alex had a meeting with Marini, who informed him of the highest probability for a volcanic explosion in the Mammoth Lakes area in California in the approximate period between May 27, 1998 and June 5, 1998. Remember that the odds are not good at telling linear time. If this is not attenuated somehow, this activity will result in atmospheric ash which will blanket the USA for about 2 weeks, as well as initiating further activity the San Andreas Fault running up California. This activity will also result in other activity in Mexico, and in the northwestern USA, possibly in Washington state or Alaska. To see the current situation in Northern California, note, as of June 8, according to Mulroney, some of the pressure of the magma dome has relieved itself, but this does not preclude further build-up to an event. 1997-11-21. Mulroney revealed to Alex that Boston, Chicago, New York, Atlanta and Indianapolis have the highest probability for a biological terrorist attack between the spring of 1998 and the early summer of 1998. 1997-10-08. A brief conversation with the folks at the Letters from Andromeda newsletter, after a 5-month delay, yielded information which was integrated into the piece called Time Wars, written shortly after the conversation. 1997-9-24. The Andromedans, a particular Pleiadian group and a group from Procyon, have directly intervened on 2 parallel realities, one of which was directly created by Montauk technology. The reason behind this action was to seal up all time travel on those realities. As a result of this intervention, our present timeline has been sped up. This was something the Andromedans did not anticipate. According to Mulroney, leaps in knowledge and consciousness are now going to change as quickly as every 24 hours, and what this has done is that it has changed all the probabilities dramatically. 1997-6-17. Alex Collier is approached by 3 black-suited agents, apparently from the NSA or some other faction, and told to "shut up, or we'll start taking out your friends." They neglect to be specific about what data has disturbed them. Alex counters, asking them, "Haven't you got anything better to do with your time?" Whereupon all 3 of them and the van they came in seemed to disappear as he turned around again to glance in their direction. A reassessment period follows for several months, in which several contacts occur again with Mulroney. 1997-6-09. Small bullet note number 1 by Val Valerian. From an independent source, the concept was presented that the Prathal in fact created the Draconian race to function as a regressive polarity during the creation of this third density timeline and universe. This would also support the entrance of the Draconians from another universe, a concept that the As have voiced. We'll pass this on to AC to pass on to the As for their comment on this very holistic concept. If it is so, it might explain a lot relative to the potential ease of implementation of reunification. Small bullet note number 2 by Val Valerian. After some discussion with Alex Collier today on the item listed below in 531, there's direct intervention ongoing by 3 races. The following additional information and amplification came to light. The material below constitute my thoughts and summation of what I have learned. The 3 races involved are the Andromedans, a progressive group from the Pleiadian system, and those from the Procyon system. The action and intervention is being done because the planetary situation is not being governed by humans, but alien and human-alien hybrids. The Nagas. See transcription of extracts from Alex Collier's June 8, 1997 Yelm lecture, pending. This action would not be taken if in fact the planetary power system was solely human-controlled. The intervention will involve extremely large ships coming into Earth's atmosphere for an extended period of time, in order to push the issue of the planetary power structure into self-responsibility, since the planetary power structure refuses to reveal what is really going on to the general population, and continues regressive and suppressive behavior patterns. This general activity parallels other events that are going on in the time continuum. It appears that there are three time streams that are involved with this whole process. Small bullet, the first one is the original timeline. Small bullet, the second derivative, is the one that resulted from the technological interaction between several alien races in November of 1931 with the World War II Germans. Small bullet, the third timeline, is one that started much earlier, wherein the groups from Sirius B were instrumental in the causation of biological warfare on the human population, and more than half of the Earth's population dies. Now, apparently, according to what has been said in the last 3 major updates below, what seems to be happening is that interference with the timeline by the United States government and other factions has been deliberately stopped by forces with an absolute mastery of time and space, as part of the general plan which will culminate on August 8, 2003. Actions by those regressive groups from the Pleiadian system, Tegeta and others who interacted with the Nazis, creating a parallel dimension with social implications even worse than those depicted in Philadelphia Experiment 2, are being taken back through time in an effort to change events so that when this time track is imploding back into the original timeline, the effect will be minimal. The same actions are being done on the Sirian B biowarfare timeline, and the net effect relative to all these matters seems to be timed to coincide with the August 8, 2003 interval, wherein at least 78 different races have agreed to enforce the mandate against all alien contact with the Earth, on the surface, under the surface or in space, in order to allow a general situation where the population will be given a change to press on without interference from suppressive, regressive and manipulative groups with the intent of ego-aggrandizement. So, the timeline is undergoing a forced change in order to accelerate the process beyond the rate it would go if it were left alone. Again, this is underway because Earth humans do not ultimately pull the strings on this planet. The non-interference concept, at least on this level, no longer applies. 1997 to 5-31. The following information from Mirani was released. Small bullet, there is direct intervention ongoing by 3 races. Small bullet, the Pleiadians have been made to reorganize themselves, and together with 6 other cultures have been convinced to repair the damage done through interaction with the Germans during World War II. Small bullet, time travel by the United States government has been halted. Small bullet, there are negotiations going on between the Orion Group and those of Sirius B, with members of the Andromedan Council, meeting outside the solar system at this time. Information will be almost immediately forthcoming in regard to preparation for the growth pains that your planet is about to experience, as far as your planetary government in particular, that of the United States, your nation, Alex. There have been so many contradictions and so much denial of the truth, that your government is almost completely unable to continue to stay in denial, and to teach denial to its people. It is important that they prepare themselves for what truly is, and not what they think it is. There will be intervention. 1997 to 5-22. The following information from Mirani was released. Small bullet, the Council has decreed that before any benevolent races make contact with new contactees, they must observe 9 prior intents. See Note 1 below. Small bullet, all benevolent Council races have been instructed to go back and study the Pleiadian interaction with the German scientists in the 1930s. See Note 2 below. Small bullet, the Pleiadians, after the realization of giving technology to the Germans, purposely scrambled Hitler's brain insofar as the importance of that technology. Small bullet, all time travel portals have been sealed with benevolent sentries who are observing all movement, both extraterrestrial and Terran. No more outside manipulation of the timeline will be allowed, including Montauk technology. Note 1, it is felt that this means that they must observe a change of intent over 9 lifetimes of a person before benevolent contact can be made. Note 2, the reasoning here is that they want the Council races to learn what not to do, basically. 1997 to 5-19. The following information from Mirani was released. Note, a rotation, as described, is in our terms a year. Small bullet, 7 handheld laser weapons built by your government were stolen from a secret military post, and are in the hands of Chinese and Islamic groups of hate. Small bullet, in the next 4 rotations, at least one of your planet country's population will be devastated by bioweapons. See Note 5 below. Small bullet, 2 of your nations will be destroyed, due to nuclear weapons, in the same 4 rotations. Small bullet, in the next 6 rotations of your planet, you will experience great shortages of water not harmful to your physicality. See Note 1 below. Small bullet, please look for your Red China country to use its military to seize control of natural resources of its neighboring countries. Small bullet, much of the surface soil used for your farming in the next 4 rotations will grow nothing at all, and will be dead for a period of 9 years. See Note 6 below. Small bullet, please come to expect that many of your planet's non-human species on the surface and on the surface, will be leaving your world in great numbers. See Note 2 below. Small bullet, by your rotations of 6 years, many of your nations on your surface will surrender the sovereignty of their people to regressive form of government, in order to eat and drink, only because of the lack of resolve amongst your Terran races to become more self-reliant. The laziness will be their own internment. See Note 7 below. Small bullet, your government is secretly preparing plans to move its location inland, close to fresh water. Small bullet, the planetary release in the rotations of 7 to 8 years of crops which will grow most anywhere will feed most of your populations. See Note 3 below. Small bullet, if unchecked monopolies, as you call them, will control all facets of your lives by the time of 6 rotations. You and your Terran races will lose all ability of self-reliance. You will become more a natural resource, and it will be so acknowledged. See Note 8 below. Small bullet, the artificial and deliberate melting of glaciers will continue to occur, but openly, as your period of 5 rotations comes to pass. See Note 9 below. Small bullet. The functionally intellectually incapable beings on your planet has reached 63% of your Terran races. We thought you should know this. See Note 4 below. Note 1. Our best guess is what this means is that all the water that we drink now is harmful to us, and that through discovery of the harm in it, fluorides, biologicals, etc., it will be cleaned up. Period between 1997 and 2003. Note 2. This would seem to correspond to the mandate that all aliens leave this planet by August 2003. Note 3. This would appear to indicate that an advance in some agricultural technique would make it possible to grow one or more select kind of food plants that would supply all the food necessary to feed the population in certain areas. Note 4. In other words, 63% of the people on the planet are functionally incapable in terms of intelligence. Note 5. 1997 to 2000. Note 6. Period between 1996 and 2000. Note 7. 1997 to 2003. Note 8. 1997 to 2003. Note 9. 1997 to 2002. 1997 to 5-02. The following information from Marani was provided. Small bullet. William J. Clinton will not complete his second term in office. Small bullet. Hillary Clinton will be indicted. This will parallel a large stock market correction. Small bullet. Major cities will discover that their water supply has been contaminated. Small bullet. Food shortages in grain and other supplies will be coming up. Small bullet. Scientists will announce that the sun is undergoing a pole shift. Small bullet. Scientists will announce that there is an artificial object orbiting Mercury. Note on May 19th, it was announced on CNN and in the news media that there was a possibility Hillary Clinton might be indicted. 1997 to 3-25. Marani stated an updated probability vector with respect to a geological pole shift. The new vector is that there is an increased probability, as seen on March 25, for a pole shift to occur between now and the year 2003. Survival rates in the United States are seen as follows: East Coast 40%, Middle United States 80%, West Coast of the United States 0%. 1996 to 10-14. 1. The worship of isness is also the creation of self. 2. The 12th density is now fully integrated with the self. Alex is trying to determine the full meaning of this statement. Latest 2008-29. Marani stated that they were monitoring a situation concerning the Palestinian rebels, Hamas. They have acquired through the Russian black market mafia 3 suitcase-sized low-yield, small-capacity nuclear device bombs. Palestinian leader is being pressured to strike at Israel with weapons for blackmail purposes. The time factor, which is critical, is the 3rd week of your month of September. Should this occur, your nation of Israel will strike without compassion. Other Arab nations will gather to strike at your nation of Israel the last week of October. At that point intervention will occur. Alex, will it be you? Meaning the Andromedans. Marani, it will be a new member of the Andromedan Council who will intervene. We were not told who this would be. Marani went on to say that before the Arab nations strike they will distract America by nuclear device explosions in your nation's cities. Alex, how many? Marani, there are 7 in your nation now. Alex, how did they get here? Marani, through your southern border, Mexico. Alex, what cities? Marani, we only see 2 detonation. Highest probability right now could change because they are indecisive as New York or San Francisco. Note, while the number 2 is mentioned, the word detonation is in singular form. Alex, who is doing this? Marani, the consortium, the regressive aliens, composed of 19 races from the constellation of Orion along with the Draconians and Syrian bees. They are using the land of Russia to create this chaos. 2008-17. Marani told Alex that Bill Clinton is not planning on leaving office. That within the first 2 weeks of September, Clinton will surrender the sovereignty of the United States to the United Nations, possibly at the new Millennium Summit, though a treaty. Expect China to move against Taiwan this October. Also expect extreme volatility to take place in our stock markets, which is all by design. It is suggested that you start buying up gold and silver. Marani wanted Alex to know that the original August 12, 2003 date when the Andromeda Council was going to literally drive all the regressive ETs off our planet and moon has been moved up. Due to a recent regressive action, the entire Andromedan Council are now in mutual consentence and have ordered all benevolent forces to put intervention into motion. Those of our own race who have betrayed us and what their treason has been, will be given to us all by a holographic download. They say it will then be our responsibility to decide upon the consequences of their actions. Alpha letters from Andromeda staff. I would recommend that our readers check the following in the archive: post number 1998-02-17, number 1999-10-30, and check out the last paragraph on post number 1998-12-12. The cities mentioned in previous material by Marini that could be the highest probability of terrorist attack were Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and Seattle. Though the United States distraction will take place after the Israeli incident to catch us all off guard, the Arab reaction after that could be very abrupt. At least 6 years or more have passed since the Andromedans had shared with us the probability of New York being sacrificed by 1999 by what would have been a terrorist act by nuclear detonation. Well, even San Francisco also had some past history too, as told to us by Marini. Shortly after the non-flyover incident of 1998, Marini told Alex the flyover event did not occur because at that time they were basing the event on the high probability linked to San Francisco. That city was going to be nuked to set off the San Andreas fault line, which would have resulted in social and economic disorder designed to introduce more control on a national level, a martial law lockdown. It would have been then that the flyover would have occurred. But it was shared with us that intervention by others took place and the flyover event never materialized. It should always be remembered that future events can change without notice. The future is by no means set in stone. Final thoughts. What should we think about all of this following right on the heels of the UN Millennium Summit conference next month? An action of this caliber could postpone or even cancel the United States elections in November, keeping President Clinton in office because an attack on American soil by terrorist actions will have our president invoking martial law on the nation. When that happens, Congress is sent home for 6 months. That means, folks, that our Constitution is suspended during time period. By the time Congress could return, the time limit to challenge the UN treaty would be over. Is this not convenient for the handing over of our nation to the UN next month? This post is a high probability. We hope it does not come to pass. Please understand that the Andromedan Council races do not speak in terms of predictions. They are scientific races, which communicates in terms of probability based on percentage of happening. This makes more sense when you are dealing with a race like ours that can change history just by our thoughts alone. Definition: probability. 1. The quality or fact of being probable. 2. A strong likelihood or chance of something. 3. A probable event, circumstance, etc. 4. The relative possibility that an event will occur, as expressed by the ratio of the number of actual occurrences to the total number of possible occurrences.